So you just type equal to if, then you write sum if. Sum if into bracket. You need to highlight the range of the what? Of the names here first. So you come and type highlight like this, then you put comma. You can now open the speech mark, you specify maybe you want all summation for green. Here. Then, so from there now you put a comma also. Then you come and highlight the values here, which will be B4 to B13. So in this case, you come and highlight that case. So once you close the bracket, you can just press enter. You see the summation for 3 in that case. Even when you want for maybe purple, you just type equal to sum if. Equal to sum if into bracket, you can say, you can highlight this range, you put a comma, open the speech mark. You want maybe purple, so you write purple there, like that. Then speech marks here. Put a comma, then you highlight this value. So that's how we can be able to use sum if in this particular case. So sum if mostly is used to quote a range of values based on a certain criteria in that particular case. Then, for example, we have also, when we look at this case here, how many times does Harry appear? How many times does Harry appear? So now you come up with count if. The count if mostly is used to display the number of appearances in a given range. So when you look at this one, we just type equal to if, equal to sum if, like this. So typing sum if, now you come and what? Highlight this one. Then we put a comma, you open the speech mark. So we can say how many times does yellow appear, this case. So you type yellow. Then you close the bracket here. So once you close the bracket,
is it count if or sum if?
Oh, count if. It will be count if here.
Count.
Count if. Count if like that. Once you are done, just hit enter. You'll see 6. So you count how many times the value appear in a given site in that case here. So we have things concerning the present value, which we talked about in our last class. The payment monthly, we have the period, interest rate, then number of years. So for you to find the present value, you said you convert interest into months. Since this one is annual payment, convert it into month. Then you come and multiply the numbers by 12. Number of years by 12, because you want to change this one to month. So you come and by 12. Now from there now you come and multiply to the loan in that particular given case. So in this case, let us look at also other kinds of concepts here, which is information function. Information function, for example, if you want to test some values in a spreadsheet, you can also use some formulas like is blank. We have is null. Is blank if the cell value has a null value or it's not containing any value, it will give you true. But if it has a value, it will give you false. Like for example, when I come here, I want to say is blank. I just type is blank here. When I type is blank, I put into bracket here. Then I'll come and click here. Then I'll close the bracket. You press enter. So that means it is true. That value is blank. But if you type here some value here, it will be false. It will be false. If you delete, it will be true in that particular given case. So that's how these kinds of formula is being used. When you look at is null, NA value, the null means what? The value that you are trying to use contain no value also, or it has this error. In this case, it has this error. So for you to use it, we can just say equal to maybe what? Sum. Equal to sum or equal to product. Equal to product into bracket. We can just say this one multiply. We can say multiply this one 6. Close the bracket. hit enter. So in that case, when you drag it, this one, it cannot be applied for dragging. So you can just say equal to product. We just give it directly, like in this case. So when you hit enter, in this case, so what I'm trying to do is to use our formula so that I can get this N error, this spreadsheet here. So when I look at this formula, it cannot give us here. So let me just apply some. You see. But it needed to be done manually.
Oh.
And the way this, so what I do, I just copy this with insert another cell here. Or I can paste. What I can do, you can say equal to, for example, this one equal to sum into brackets. Let me try to highlight this out. And divide 2. First tab. So in this case, not even showing that null error. But in this case, if you have that kind of error and you use null, you use if is null value, in this case here, you'll be able to get the true response or what? False response?
False.
Response. Yeah, we have also these kinds of error, which is error. Is error, it means what? If the cell that you are trying to type in, it has an error. For example, in this case, let me show this error here. We can start say equal to, maybe for example, we want to divide this one through. We want to divide. So we can just use our null value here. This. When you press enter. So you get deep error. The value that you are dividing, it has a null value. So in this case, if you want to test that cell, you can just type here equal to is error. In that case, then you put into bracket here. When you put into bracket, now you come and click the cell that has an error. Then you close the bracket. So in case it is true. But if you delete that error, it will be false. So that's how it's being applied when you look at is error, that case. So any of these errors, when they are in the spreadsheet, you will get that value will be true. But if they are not there, you'll get the value is what? The value is false in that case.
Yeah.
The same applies to this one, is error. We can write error or is error in this case here. You see, also when you type here, is error like that. Is error, then you come and click here. You close the bracket. You see, the same response will be quota. So in that case, that's how we can apply this error and that. So once they are there, now we have also, you can easily test the function. If it has that error, for example, if is error, when you divide this by this, you'll get true. Then enter the number into the cells. Otherwise, divide it. So in this case, when we look at this case one, we want to test here if this kind of division, for example, if you divide this by this, if it's not having a value, if it's an error, it will need to enter the number in the cell. But if it's not having an empty or an error, it will divide automatically. So that's why we want to divide this and this one here. So after dividing, in case it has an error, it will prompt you to enter a number. But if it does not have an error, you will just see the answer. So that's why when we type here equal to, if into bracket, then say is error, like that. Then you put into bracket here. When you put into bracket, you can now say what? we can come up with a statement. Maybe this one, this first value, if you divide it, if this first value, if we divide it, if you divide it by what? Let us say this cell, which is cell H2. Then you close the bracket here. So this one, it should give you equal to, if it is true, then you need to enter the number. Enter a number. Enter a number in cell, maybe what? H4. Cell H4, like that. Then, comma. From there now, if it's not true, now it will give you the answer. So that's why now I'm saying, you now enter the second option, which would be what? Now the C2 divide. C2 divide what? H2. So if it will not give you that error, you now need to enter what? That formula again, so that you get the exact answer. So in this case, you can just close the bracket like that. So once you close the bracket, you can just what? Press enter like that. You see, it is asking you to enter a number. Reason, cell H2. It was to what? Cell. It was to be in cell H2. This case. So it's asking you to enter a number because in cell H2, we don't have any value. So it was to show an error. But in that case, it wrote you a statement where you can be able to remember. You should enter a value here. So if I enter a value here in cell H2, like 6 or like 9, that error will not be there. So it will debug in that case. So that's why when you look at this, that you enter an error. But if you delete that error, it will say enter a number in cell what? In cell H2. So let me repeat again. So I'll set equal to if into bracket is error into bracket here. So let us say you want to divide this value here, which is what? 930. You divide it by, let us say this F7, then you close the bracket. So if this division will give you an error, which is equal to true, which is equal to true, now, comma, open the speech mark. If it has that error now, you say, type a number. Type a number in cell what? Type a number in cell F7. Then you put speech mark, you put a comma. Then if it's not true now, it will take C4, divide F7. If it's not true, it will take C4, divide F7. Then you close the bracket like that. That's how you should be able to do. Then you press what? You press enter. So we are saying type a number in cell F7. Our cell F7 is here. It's here. So if I type a number here, then I press enter, you see what will happen? What will happen? Yeah. So it is giving you the answer. If I type it here. Right. So that's how you should be able to do in this particular given case. Now let us look at something called subtotals. Subtotals is used to group totals based on the way you have entered the values. So sometimes you can have different types of products, but you want to find subtotals in those cells. So what you do, I'll just create a new spreadsheet here, a new sheet, so that you can put in some few values here. So we can say, let us have like a department. Yeah. Department, then we can say maybe finance, say maybe ICT can also say like sales.
Yes.
So these departments, when you look at them, we can easily drag them to duplicate like that. To duplicate. After duplicating, now you can also do it. Enter here. You can say salaries. Salaries, this case. So if we put salaries, we can say 6K. We have 80,000 that case. So from there now, you can just highlight and then you drag it down like that. So once you have this one, maybe you have also, you can have a column for name. Names. Then you have for example, we have Tony, we have Michael, George. So when you highlight this name here, you can just duplicate. After duplicating now, in this case, we can also do it. Decide to find the subtotal for this one. So for us to find subtotals, what you need to do, you'll first sort salary in ascending order. So you can just highlight this. After highlighting, now you can go to what? Data. Choose data. Then you go to what? Sort and filter. Remember, sort and filter is here. Sort and filter here. So you just click sort and filter. After selecting sort and filter, you see this drop down arrow here. So you come and click there. Then you come and do it. Sort largest to small, to smallest. After sorting, you will say continue with the current selection here. Then you click what? Sort. So once you sort, you can also still go back to filter here. You remove this arrow. You just click filter like that. So you also sort the department now. You also sort the department, you highlight. After highlighting, I've said you go to data. Yeah, we have our data here, you go to filter. In this filter, you can also do it. Click on this drop-down list, then select A to Z. Select A to Z, then you say continue with the current selection, you click OK. So this is how you'll be able to sort those departments and salaries. So after sorting like this, now what you do, you can easily find the subtotal. Finding the subtotal, you need to highlight like this. After highlighting, now you go and click what? Data. Then on your right-hand side, you'll see subtotals here. You'll see subtotal. So this subtotal, you come and click on it. Once you click on it, now we have attach each change in department, which is right. Then we use which function? You can use sum. But once you click here, you can also use average, maximum, product, and so on. So it does use sum here. Then we can attach totals to what? Salary. We will attach totals to salaries. So once they are done, now you can click what? Okay. Like that. So automatically you'll see the subtotals of those ranges. Like the finance department, if you want to pay them, you can pay them this salary. You just highlight it like this. Just highlight. Then if you want to go to ICT total, you also highlight this total here. Then we have this one. You can also change. In this case, you can apply different cells here. In this case, you can just change it. So once they are there, we have also the grand total here. You can just highlight, then you choose the grand total in this case. So that's how you can be able to apply. So these totals, when you want to view them, assume you are the head of department of finance and you want to pay your people, you request for this amount, then you're going to disperse. We have this one also, you request for this, you go and disperse. So those people who are earning more, they are for sales department in this case. Now from this, maybe if you want to hide all the values in, but you want to show only the totals, you come and click number 3. You come and click what? Number 1, you'll see only total. Number 1, it will show you the total for paying your workers. If you click number 2, it will show you the what? It will show you the totals. Let me scroll it up. If you click number 1, it only show you the total. If you click number 2, it will show you
Breakdown.
subtotal and grand total, grand totals here. Then if you show this one, number 3, it will show you the entire information. Yes, the entire information. So that's why when you look at this case here, they have tried to use the same criteria. When you look at this one, which we have already done, this case, we have also this one. So this is what you are seeing here. Like in this case here, this is what you are seeing, what you are seeing. So in this case, when you look at this, you'll be able to see the same way we have done to this one. It is the same way it's appearing. It's appearing like west total, south total, Scotland total, east total, then grand total. If you want to hide, for example, if you want to show total only, you click 1 because it's summation of all. So that's why it have the grand total. That's why we have total only here. We have also number 2, the grand total, which are inside here. Then number 3, it will present the entire information. So that's how you should be able to use these kinds of subtotals. We have also now what you call hiding and displaying data. When someone talks about hiding and displaying data, is another case that you can also be able to consider. Like when you say, to the left of the worksheet, there are 3 patterns labeled. So this, what they are trying to say is these patterns here. You can hide and display data. Like for example, if you want to hide all information, you can just click 1. Like that. You see total only. If you want to view, you can also click here. See? Grand totals and totals. If you click here now, you can display the entire information. So that's why we can also show this. Removing subtotals, already that one we have used in this case. So once they are there, this kind of information is being applied here. So see back to your program, you'll try to look at this exercise 3, module 3 here. Like in this case, they are trying to estimate. Like when you look at the question, they are saying what? Create the above worksheet, enter the formula to calculate what? Tax at 100%, but only if the total exceeds what? The total exceeds 90,000. So if the total does not exceed, insert what? 0. Yes. So our total here, remember we have price, then we have sales. So you'll come and multiply price times what? Price times sales here. Then we'll get the total. So after getting the total, now you'll come up with the if function. The if function, now you'll say if equal to if, maybe this column here is E4 is greater than what? 90,000, comma. You take 10%, you multiply what? The total again. Like in this case, let me just brush through so that you can be able to understand. But as you go, you'll be able also to look at them so that you can be able to understand more. So when I create a worksheet here, in this case, I can just type here maybe whiskey, or we can say north, west, we have south, we have also east, have southeast, have north, west. So those are 4 names that you have in this case here. There are 7. We can also add east, west, east, west. Then from there now we can also enter the values. You can insert another row here at the top. So after inserting, these are the types of what? Drinks. The drinks that they are taking. We have tax brand. Tax brand. And from tax brand now we had also the B. We have C. We have A. We have D. We have D. We have D, like that. B, C, A, D, B, D. This one is not there. Then we have the tax prices here. Prices. Our prices here now, it will be 12.90, 14.50, we have 8.65. 8.65, we have 9.95. That. Then I have 11.30. 11.30 here. Then we have the 13.90. Yes. Then we have also sales. The sales, in this case, our sales here, it is 8,000. 8,000, we have 6,890. We have 12,896.
896.
Then we have 12,356. 356. Then we have 7,896. And we have 2,300. That. 2,800. So once they're done, now they want you to find the totals here. Totals or the total. Then we have tax. So for you to get these kinds of value now, we have price, then sales. Sales that has been met in that given day. So for you to do that, you just take equal to. For example, you can take this one, you multiply. You multiply what? This one. Then you press enter. You press enter. So once you press enter, you can drag it like that. So in this case, for you to find the tax, they have said 10%, but only if the total exceeds 90,000. And if the total does not exceed 90, you insert what? That's why you come and say equal to if, into brackets. So you can say this one, if it's greater than what? If it's greater than
90,000.
90,000. Then you comma. So in the case when you are inserting some kind of calculation, you don't put speech mark. But if it's not calculation, you put speech mark in this case. So that's why you come and say 10%. 10%, you multiply. You multiply what? The same total here. Like that. Then you put a comma again. Here. Into brackets. Now you can say this one also again is greater than, not greater than, less than. It's less than 190,000, comma. Then you come and open, not opening speech mark, you put 0%. 0%, you multiply the total also like this. So once they're done, you just close the bracket. You close the bracket like that. So if we had opened two brackets, you also close with two brackets. So that's how we are seeing equal to if E2 is greater than 90,000, 10% multiplied by the total. Then again, if E less than now, we can say less than or equal to 90. Now, 0% multiply the total. Yeah. So that's how you come and press enter. So this person is paying tax of what? 10,320 in this case. So we have these people who are not paying tax. Yes. So that's how you should be able to interpret the questions in that case. So replace the previous formula with which calculates tax percent of the total, but if only sales are greater than 8,000, and if the sales are less than 8,000, it should be inside 0. And remember, it was this one. Now sales, this sales here. So in this case, they have said you replace the formula. So what I'll do, I'll come and also add the second tax here. Tax 2. This tax 2, I can just copy the same formula which we have used here. Then I come here. I come and paste.
Yes.
So we can just substitute inside this case here. So our cells, it's under D. So I can change this E to D. Then also this one to what? To D, in that case. No, they are saying you multiply 5% of the total if cells are greater than what? 80,000. So in this case, I'll just put here E. Because if D is greater than what? 8,000. If this one is greater than, cells is greater than 8,000, you take what? 5%. You multiply the total here. If this is greater than what? 8,000, you take 5% to multiply what? The total. So that's why I have retained E. E is for the total. Then if I change now B, which is cells, we start with the cells. If it's now less than or equal to what? 8,000 here. I'll take 0, multiply the total. So that's why you see. And if cells are less than 8,000, insert 0. But here they said 5% of the tax at 5% of the total. But if the cells is greater than what? 8,000. If the cells, yes, they have not said if total. They said if cells is greater than 8,000, now you take 5% of what? Of the total. Then once you are done, you hit enter like that. Then you can now draw bracket. You see? So that's how it works. Replace the previous formula with which one? Calculate tax using tax parts. The one that calculates what? Tax using tax part, yeah. Like this. Rest at your provided. So instead of now using this one for if you have been provided with a tax part, the tax part. Yeah. Tax part, we have A, B, C, D. Also, we have B, C, A, D, B, D in this case. So just take now manually. If it's 0, now you take what? Equal to what? We just type equal to now total. This total, you multiply what? 0. For example, B is 5. B is 5. So you multiply 5. 5%. Then you enter. You see, that's the amount you need to pay. But if it's C, it's 8%. So it says take equal to 8%, multiply what? The total. Equal to 8%, multiply the total here. A total, see, in this case.
That's one, yeah.
Yeah. So this one you can't drag. You need to do it manually. Yeah?
Yes.
Just a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. Now that's how you are supposed to do in this particular given case. So you just use that kind of what? Formulas to express. So in that case, let me show you also another link so that you can be able to understand the concept of what? Module.
Lovely.
Using module 4, which is templates.
Templates.
Yes. So in that case, let me stop this one. But now you come and try again when you are at your own free time. You try to work with the exercise. So in that